Welcome to this week's episode of The Economist. Let me take you back to the late 1980s for a minute when crime was at an all-time high. Wages were so low that the profits from selling cocaine seemed very alluring. Because of this, people were not finding actual jobs. Flash forward to now, and the debate on whether bad economic times affect crime rates continues to be controversial. In 2012, per capita crime was down slightly from 387.1 crimes per 100,000 people in 2011 to 386.9 crimes per 100,000 people that year. What are the reasons for this decrease in crime? Could the decline be from a bad economy or a prosperous one? This week's episode will explore how crime and the economy interrelate, both affecting each other as they fluctuate through time.
The lawyers will meet me there, along with someone from the district attorney's office.
Wait, what? Why can't we just pay his bail?
His bail is set at $1 million.
What are you talking about? It wasn't even that much coke.
It seems your father is facing some other charges.
For what?
Embezzlement and fraud. I guess they've been building their case for a while.
A few years ago, Gossip Girl was very popular in the teenage female population. The entire show includes economic hardships sprinkled throughout, but the example of Mr. Archibald's crime is a prime one. In the show, he is seen as a high-up businessman who everyone has grown to trust. Yet, as you saw, he burned the bridges that he built as soon as he was caught for embezzlement and fraud. Out of 3 million loans, 70% contain fraudulent misrepresentation on their original applications. This type of white-collar crime, fraud, is scary because people who have higher economic power and who we are supposed to be able to trust are the ones who commit these crimes. As is common with this type of crime, Mr. Archibald did not want to lose the luxurious life he had been living, so he decided that the benefits he would reap would be much higher than the cost. The cost of white-collar crime is typically its ability to ruin social morals and cause financial loss, which is a higher cost than that of other types of crime. With more basic crimes, the cost is usually just jail time or a similar outcome, which is much less than the monetary and psychological benefit of committing the crime. Only when more serious penalties will result from crime and when the cost of the community, such as police, prisons, and fear, is lower than the cost for the criminal, will the crime rate go down. This video also brings up another good point. What would happen if crime, such as cocaine found on Mr. Archibald, was calculated into GDP? Let's take a look at another short clip.
I don't think a 17-year-old should be traveling alone.
There is a party tonight at school. Want to come? 2 girls around 18.
There's someone here. Oh my God, they got Amanda. They're coming.
I can hear them. I will kill you.
Good luck.
Sam, it's me. I'm gonna download something. I need it analyzed. She's been taken.
They're speaking Albanian. The specialty of the groups coming out of this area is trafficking in women. You have a 96-hour window from the time she was grabbed.
What?
You're never finding her.
Movies like Taken help us to see how prevalent crime is, not only in our country but in the whole world. Recently, Italy decided to include crimes such as buying and selling drugs, trafficking arms, and human trafficking in the calculation of their GDP. This change is predicted to increase Italy's economy by 1.3% each year, and if it spread throughout Europe, the country would have a growth rate of about 2.4%. When calculations were done in 2012, Italy discovered that about 10.9% of GDP is from the criminal activity taking place. Although illegal activities are not often reported, inclusion of these black market crimes could really help to boost the GDP of the entire country. On the other hand, there are downfalls. No matter how much police protection we are willing and able to pay for, they are not able to track all of the illegal activity that goes on. Crimes that are crossing borders are much more difficult to stop than those that occur within a certain area. Though human trafficking can be included in and help GDP, it can also decrease it. The country wherein the trafficking is based loses production capability due to the fact that people are engaging in illegal activity rather than working a legal job. And the country wherein the trafficking is received suffers from decreased wages, especially when those being trafficked are children. Of course, human trafficking is not the only international crime that occurs. The 12 most common crimes include drugs, humans, wildlife, counterfeit goods and currency, human organs, small arms, diamonds and colored gemstones, oil, timber, fish, art and cultural property, and gold, all being sold in the black market. Similar to white-collar crime, these crimes are committed by people who live in developed countries or people who have riches in an underdeveloped country. Counterfeiting, for example, causes a global commercial loss of $500 billion each year, and the profits go to criminal groups. As you can see here, crime can help in ways but destroy in others. Again, we see an example of a movie wherein crime is the main focus. This movie grabbed the attention of many due to the fact that the idea, a night where all crime is legal, is so abstract and crazy that we all wanted to see the outcome. The Purge helps to shed light on how supply and demand works in the world of crime. As would be expected, supply is determined by a criminal's desire to commit crime, society determines the demand, and the government plays into both. The choice between whether or not crime is committed depends on the net payoff of crime. When it rises, the supply rises as well. So, when the government in the movie allows a day of crime without consequence, supply peaks since there is no cost. The supply curve typically shifts with demographics, a rise in unemployment, and a decrease in imprisonment. The trailer for The Purge even includes a caption stating that unemployment is at 1% and another saying that crime is at an all-time low. This demonstrates a direct correlation between economy and the crime rate. The low unemployment rate drives the citizens to not want to commit crime on all of the other days of the year besides the Purge Day because they know that the cost would be too high. Although the idea behind this movie may seem outrageous, they actually do have the right information being presented. A major way to help the economy would be to decrease the federal deficit, and a lot of the deficit actually comes from paying for prisons, which is part of why they make crime legal. The budget of an inmate population of 219,000 people is $6.6 billion. Though prisons are a good investment to an extent, statistics show that 56.2% of federal inmates are categorized as low or minimum security. So that budget of $6.6 billion is going towards a large amount of people who are not hugely dangerous to our community. Right now, federal inmates get 54 good days that they get out of prison for good behavior, per year, which is a minimum amount. If FedCure, an advocate for federal inmates, increased those good days to 128 days per year, the government would save approximately $1.2 billion annually. With the government and the public working together, as they do in the movie, our country's deficit would greatly decrease more than if the public worked alone. Although the solution is not to make crime legal for a day, there are other ways in which we can attempt to keep the rate of crime low. By using fiscal policy, the government can keep the economy in a good place so that crime is not seen as a necessary means of support for some people. If expansionary fiscal policy is used, the government would have to stay aware of inflation, but unemployment will be kept low. Otherwise, if the economy is too prosperous, a contractionary policy may have to be used to keep property crimes low. Either way, the economy has to be closely monitored so that crime doesn't get too out of control. Thank you for watching this week's episode of The Economist. Tune in next week to learn about the World Trade Organization.